Welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to movies and TV shows about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action. From Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and the Furious. We will review theatrical films and streaming delights you care about most. And tonight, we're doing the film you care about most this year, The Suicide Squad. It's out now in theaters and HBO Max. Oh my, that's a whole thing. All right, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and joining me tonight is Chris Slattery. He is the Slattman. How you doing, sir?
Good. I got nothing witty this time.
Nothing witty. That is so witty of you. All right. Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Moore.
I'm not Christopher G. Moore. I'm wearing my fake mustache.
But you got to sound like Sylvester Stallone when you say that.
Mustache. I'm doing
friend.
I never knew somebody would actually play into his sort of dumb character type stuff, but actually play into it just entertainingly well.
Yes, it's quite a surprise when it showed up on the trailer, and equally surprising throughout the movie. So good stuff. All right, Suicide Squad. I imagine, Christopher G. Moore, you found a lot of cosplay opportunities in this movie.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of cosplay type stuff. I mean, I would love to create a King Shark outfit, but if I wasn't so against shaving off my goatee, I would totally do Polka Dot Man.
Oh my God.
Polka Dot Man is like my newest superhero.
I'm a superhero.
I just, that character is so cool. Or just like, I think somebody said it'd be kind of cool if he did it where you see his like bulging, glowing face part. So if I can make a mask like that. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities in this.
No toilet bowl on your head?
No, no toilet bowl on my head. Although I did love Idris Elba's, like, his little mask thing with like the skull thing.
Yes, Bloodsport.
I thought that was pretty badass. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool like costuming type stuff. Or was it TKD? Nathan Fillions.
Nathan.
I don't know. I think I can understand why James Gunn did this. I know that we haven't gotten into the review, but I can understand, because he loves like the losers of the world. He loves the downtrodden. He loves those sort of weird, geeky ones. And he definitely goes after those type of things, because you have probably some of the worst villains or quasi superheroes that have ever existed in this.
And I think by worst you mean lame.
Yes, because at some point you realize, like, your powers aren't really helpful powers. Like having a javelin, unless it's someone else utilizing it, is not really, or even just well, anyway, I don't want to get into stuff because
like Weasel. What is Weasel going to bring to the
some
table?
of you didn't even get to really see what their powers were. You just died before you could see anything. And I think that's what I love about it. It's like, this is like taking that movie, the character in Psycho that gets killed off in 20 minutes. This is what you just have. They show up 20 seconds and they're dead. It doesn't even matter who they are. And that's why it almost becomes a Russian roulette. It's like, who's going to live and who's going to die.
Yeah, it's actually at times quite shocking. But before we get into this, what we're going to do is we're going to give our first impression, which will be spoiler free. No more spoilers if we did spoil anything. And then we're going to have a discussion, which we will dive into spoilers. So you're good on the first impressions if you haven't seen the movie. And then once we get into, we'll try to warn you when you see all of us back. Yeah, that's what's happening. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score at 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And you want to come back for that or stick around for that. That's a lot of fun. All right, what film are we covering? It's not Suicide Squad. It is The Suicide Squad. And, of course, the next film is going to be A Suicide Squad. No. It is available in theaters and on HBO Max starting August 6th, 2021. Written, directed by James Gunn. A whole slew of stars, including but not limited to Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman, and as we mentioned, Sylvester Stallone. The names are all up there. It's a lot. I'm not reading them all. Synopsis Supervillains Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, Peacemaker, and a collection of nutty cons from Belle Reve prison join a super secret, super shady Task Force X as they are dropped off at a remote enemy-infused island of Corto Maltese. That is very top level, high level, high level. There's a lot of stuff happening under here, or is there? Let's get into our first impressions of the Suicide Squad. Slattman, sir, you are up first.
I really liked this movie. I think that the story is simple enough that it is easy to follow, even with the hodgepodge of characters that we have. And when I mean hodgepodge, I mean a crap ton of characters. But they all get their moment to shine, and I like that at least the core like 5 or 6 that we have really all get their moments. Everybody is very, I feel like everybody is very well is portrayed very well, and this film just oozes style to me, and it's enjoyable to look at. It's got a lot of really interesting action set pieces and just a lot of really cool moments that I think back on and I'm just like, oh yeah, that was cool. You know, it really kind of reminds me a lot of some of James Gunn's earlier stuff, where it was like a lot of really cool ideas strung together, as opposed to something that's super full and cohesive. But this also feels super full and cohesive. And well, maybe not the first 20 minutes, but after the first 20 minutes, it's very full and cohesive. But that first 20 minutes is a wild roller coaster all in itself, and just so much fun. And that's another one. And it's just, I don't know, I really enjoyed it.
Really enjoyed it. Yeah, there's a lot of people in that boat. All right, let's find out. Oh my, what Christopher G. Moore thinks. Christopher G. Moore, what is your first impression of the Suicide Squad?
I'm looking forward to hear what Doc has to say. It's always an interesting sign when he's emphasizing things. Because it's like, oh, everybody loved this, and you're like, you know how Doc feels. I absolutely love this. I was watching a lot of the special features that are on HBO Max for it, and they were talking about how they used it's a running joke in the filmmaking circle about using the red camera. But they did use a red camera for this, and it sort of freed him up to do a lot of stuff visually. I mean, you even start off with this really cool shot where the camera goes from like a puddle to Michael Rooker, sitting there playing with his little ball that he kills birds with. But yeah, I love this doesn't have the sort of the epic soap opera visuals of his Guardian of the Galaxy films, but you can tell that he does lean into a lot of the old war movies, like Where Eagles Dare and that kind of stuff in this 60s and 70s and those type of war films. And he has a lot of fun sort of working within that, but also not shying away from people getting exploding, getting their heads cut off, ripped in half. Just every way that you could sort of like bloodily kill someone is in this. And there's almost like a weird glee in how some of these characters kill people. There's even like at one point, there's like a kill off between, what's his name? Idris Elba's character and
Bloodsport
and Peacemaker, to where there's almost like this trade off, like, oh, I'm going to kill this person this way and this person that way. But just the way they use the camera throughout a lot of these action things, I was tense because there's like them running with buildings falling down, and there's a fight scene that's reflected on Peacemaker's helmet. There's like so many wonderful things that really show you how to sort of tell a story. I mean, I never thought I'd get probably one of the goofiest kaiju that's ever existed in film is in this film. It almost has like a sci-fi B-movie sensibility about it that goes along with the war sensibility, to where it's like, you know, it definitely doesn't take itself too seriously, but also it doesn't take itself too, it goes into the dark direction as well. That the main woman who's over everything, she's a mean
Amanda
person.
Waller, yes,
She's a mean asshole of a person. I don't want to cross her. But yeah, and I love the characters. I love these sort of like out of the box type characters that you don't normally see in these type of superheroes. There's a few of them, like Idris Elba's character, who's, you know, he's almost like a little bit like, was it Killshot that was in the
Deadshot?
The one that Will Smith played. Deadshot. Okay, it's sort of like, you know, they're just like the normal assassin type person. But then you have a person that controls rats. You have another person that throws polka dots, that, you know, decimates things and see visions of his mom and stuff. I mean, there's like so many weird visual things that, like, it kind of blew my mind. And don't even get me started in the whole Harley Quinn action sequence, which I think is one of the best action sequences in any comic book film, in my opinion. I think visually it's almost like if Snow White were an action hero. That's what that would be. I just loved all the dark elements. I mean, I'm a fan of dark humor in general, and I just love that. I love these wacky, interesting characters. I love how it comments on masculinity, how you have all these people that are trying to act all masculine, but then you have people like running away from stuff, or they're scared of rats, or, you know, or you have this guy who's almost like the douchey bro, like the Peacemaker guy. I mean, his whole you know, when someone makes a joke about like eat a bag of dicks, and it's like, if there was dicks all over this beach and I had to do it to save, you know, people, I would eat every dick. And it's like, this guy is nuts. I don't know. I really love the humor. There's like some really great dialogue, even sequences where the Idris Elba is like talking to his daughter, you know, when she comes to visit prison. He's just as immature as she is, you know. So I just love how they take these pieces of dialogue that you don't normally see in these type of films. And I think also this doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's pretty much somewhat easy to see how it plays out, other than maybe those characters that end up dying that you might not expect to die. But overall, I just found it to be a fun ride that doesn't take itself seriously. And it plays into a lot of these wacky type characters you don't normally, because I think to be honest, a lot of the Marvel and DC stuff is they try to make it so cinematic and so heroic that it's like it becomes almost like operatic, as opposed to this that's sort of like, these are goofy characters, we're going to have fun with them. A lot of people are going to explode or die. Some really great action sequences. I mean, even like the titles, I mean, this is closer to like a comic book than a lot of comic book movies are. When you see those little titles pop up, brilliant. Even the use of like a perspective, there's like one part where it spells something out, to where if you look at one perspective, it spells something out, but when you move past it, it just becomes a lot of crap, you know, sitting around. Or just fire. There's like one part where they come out and the fire behind them spells out like Operation whatever. I mean, I just think it's brilliant how they just that you can see James Gunn was having fun with the use of the camera, having fun with a lot of these actors, some of which he likes to work with a lot, like Michael Rooker or Nathan Fillion. So yeah, I know. I just found it to be a fun ride. I didn't take it seriously. Like a lot of these things that take themselves too seriously, but at the same time, it had more heart than what I expected as well. You know, there's a nice little cameo by a certain person who's affiliated with the Marvel universe as well. There's some really nice moments that you can sort of see that these characters have a heart to them. You know, I never thought I'd be cheering for some weirdo who throws dots at people and sees his mom and his overbearing mom and everybody. But I really love that character. And I was like, I think everybody else, like, Polka Dot Man, why is he in this film? But you see it and you embrace him. You know, you're like, oh man, this I feel for this guy that has like this sort of mental illness around his mom. He has mommy issues. He's like Norman Bates to the nth degree.
He has huge mommy issues.
Huge mommy issues. And when you see the movie, you'll know what we mean by huge mommy issues. But yeah, I mean, who thought a big starfish with a big eye in the middle would be
Starro,
such an interesting character? That I never thought something like that would be in one of these movies. So anyway, I loved it. I enjoyed it. I got a kick out of it. I'm actually looking forward to watching it again. Because I really loved a lot of the visual flourishes, and I'm a big fan of James Gunn stuff in general, and I like it when he goes dark with things like Slither or Super or any of these things that sort of have a dark edge to the comedic pop part of it. I'm glad they sort of like, hey, here's carte blanche, do whatever to create an R rating, go for it, and I'd really like to see him to be able to do that, again in some films. I think he could still sort of walk that line in things in Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this film.
Yeah, it certainly is an entertaining film. It does entertain, and it has very much a lot of visual flourishes that you expect from James Gunn. Mm-hmm. And I do agree, it has really a surprising amount of heart. There's a relationship between Bloodsport and what was it, Ratcatcher 2?
Ratcatcher 2.
That you wouldn't expect. And even Harley Quinn gets some interesting things going on with her. So there's a lot going on in this. There's a lot more than what's on the surface. It's actually far more complex. And I was very entertained. However, I don't think I actually liked the movie. I think the movie, there's elements of this movie that rubbed me the wrong way. That I wasn't enjoying the humor of this film as much as I've enjoyed the humor of past films from James Gunn. There's some things that felt excessive and angry. It felt like very angry humor to me. It felt like it almost felt like somebody, just like, it felt like James Gunn. If there's a character in this movie that it's James Gunn, it's Starro, run just tearing everything up. It just felt so. It didn't feel. I don't know what I'm saying. I just felt like it was mean spirited in the humor, and I really wasn't enjoying it. And there were some decisions with Harley Quinn that rubbed me the wrong way. With the president, there's some things about Bloodsport and Peacemaker that rubbed me the wrong way. Michael Rooker's character rubbed me the wrong way. I think they were trying to make a little bit of a like this funny little point with the yellow sparrow birds or whatever, but it just really rubbed me the wrong way. And then the birdcage thing rubbed me. There was a lot of things where it was like, somebody is really not happy. This is such an angry, unhappy film to be, and it's I don't know. I just found myself sitting there thinking, this. Yeah, I'm entertained, but is this funny? Is this, and that just really got to me that why is all this happening? And I was looking forward to it, and I was really, it's true to the characters, true to the story. It is very much, the Suicide Squad is very much the Dirty Dozen kind of film. You have a group of questionable heroes that are on a mission that they most likely will not survive, and this one takes that to the nth degree. And some of the things are funny, other things are just pure excess, and the carte blanche thing might have been a little too open, in my opinion. This is not my favorite James Gunn film. I feel like somebody pissed in my Wheaties, so I feel like I need to watch this film again, because I don't know. I walked out. I didn't walk out happy and joyful. I walked out kind of icky and disgusted, but I can't deny that it was entertaining. I can't deny that there's some really strong visual flourishes in here. There's also some very strong performances as well from Margot Robbie, from Idris Elba, even John Cena, who there's going to be some people out there that are going to really complain about him. But I liked him. But yeah, this movie made me question things. So I don't know if I'm a fan. At this point, I don't know if I like it. Is that weird?
No,
It's not weird. I mean, I don't know if it had to do. I know sometimes we have expectations when we go into things that sort of taint how we go into it. But yeah, I can understand that. It's a very dark edged film. But I don't know.
Well,
I feel like, but I feel like the first Suicide Squad film, even though supposedly there's an Ayers cut of it or whatever, which I don't think is going to improve it at all. I feel like that didn't really, they should have been given more carte blanche, because I think this story deserves to be like full on crazy blast. But yeah, I can understand that, because it's not a lot. There's not a, I mean, it's the whole point of it. A lot of these people are just horrible people. But I will say that I think this is I like Harley Quinn. I think this is the best version of Harley Quinn I've seen in any film, to be honest. I think at least they showed her to be the badass that she is. That whole fight scene, I think, is brilliant. And I don't know. But
I agree with that. And I also think that they did a smart thing by not making Harley Quinn the focal point. I feel like Harley Quinn is best in a major supporting role as opposed to the focal point. I mean, obviously Birds of Prey was great and she was the focal point, but she was so strong in this specifically because she wasn't like the main character.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really liked Margot Robbie is definitely, perfecting this role. She's already settled into it. Now she's just perfecting it. She's making it better and better with each time she plays it. I'm frustrated with, from a story point of view, I really did not enjoy her interaction with the president, the Presidente. I thought it undermined her character and her entire meaning, because she was, I don't know. It just really.
I don't know. I think the way it plays out actually shows what she probably should have done to the Joker. So I think if anything, it's shown that she's a stronger character now than what she used to.
I think that's weak sauce for that character. I think that
I think she does what she wants to do. If she wants to go, have sex on a table that's on fire, she's gonna do that. First of all, she's batshit crazy. Let's say that she's not exactly the most sane person to begin with. But secondly, I think she has. I mean, you can see her character arc has learned a little bit. I've had more problems with. I think her character's been much more problematic in other films like the Suicide Squad or other things where she's more. Huh?
Just Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Where she was basically this sort of beat up ragdoll for Joker to beat the shit out of and put under his thumb. I think that if anything, I think she's her own thing now, to where she actually, she does what she wants to do, and I think that's fine. I think also it's her onus to do what she wants to do, whether she wants to have sex with somebody or do that or that. But at the same time, I think she's more badass than this. And she feels more the type of character I want to see her as in this and other things. But I don't know. I can sort of see that, I can sort of see how people can sort of look at that. But I mean, I think if anything, I think I was kind of surprised the Waller character. I
have a problem with her too.
She's such a mean ass character. I was like, oh wow. I was like, I think I would have been. Without giving anything away, I think I would have been one of those people in the control room.
I mean, I think we're in spoilers.
Well, we are in spoilers.
We are in spoilers. Okay, yeah. When when that person takes the golf club, I'm like, okay, that's what I would have done. Because I mean, come on, there's a point to where you still have to have some kind of moral code somewhere in there in your brain.
But so I agree with you. but I disagree that it stopped there. And what they left that character undermined as well. So to me, they didn't. I liked that they, you know, the underlings decided, you know, hey, we need to, you know, we've got to take this girl out. We don't want her to kill kids and blah, blah, whatever, you know. But when she came, whenever she would come back to, there would be hell to pay. There would be consequences, and those consequences were not felt. And that is so untrue to the character not to do that. So I felt like they cut her off at the knees with that without following up. And you know, the little stinger at their end is not enough. But I don't think that was what they were after to me. So that's a squabble. That's a, you know, it's not really a problem. That's just me being nitpicky. I have more problem with the killing of all the birds. I'm not usually an animal person, but they kill all the birds in this movie.
Well, it just makes it even more great when the people get their comeuppance towards the end because they do that kind of stuff. It does. It does. I mean, but again, that's if you had to worry about that about every film, you know, it's like, I mean, I think we already walk on eggshells in films as in general. It's like, oh, you can't kill the dog, you can't kill this because somebody's going to get upset. But that's in real life, people do that. They're like, hey, this is a representation of who this person was. So I'm just going to destroy everything that's affiliated with this person, whether it's birds or whatever. So I don't know. I that didn't really bother me at all. But if anything, it just showed you how much of a horrible asshole that general guy was.
Between Michael Rooker at the beginning, that really put me off right on the onset. I was like, really? And then, you know, the whole birdcage thing and the fire.
I mean, are you saying that wouldn't happen with a villain that's in like I don't know, that felt very on character, the Michael Rooker thing. It felt very
it felt like it was a bad lead up to a bad joke with the bird poking at his brain after when he's floating in the water. Just felt, I mean,
I thought it was a perfect comeuppance of that because the whole
I groaned.
Well, you can. That's fine. To me, the whole film is all about masculinity and how all these people put on a good show like they're badasses. But when it comes down to being in the midst of it, they either freeze or they're just slap fighting like TDK, or you're like Michael Rooker's character, who's this badass, like, oh, I can kill things with a ball, you know. But then he gets in the midst of it and he's like, oh, you know, he's a big pussy. So it's like, I mean, I think that's the whole point of it. You have a lot of these people that put on a good game face when it comes down to being in the midst of it. They're not as manly as they make themselves out to be. You know, you even have like Idris Elba's character, who's like this badass, can kill people, can shoot his bullet through someone else's bullet, but then he's scared of rats. You know, everybody has their weakness. Everybody is not as manly as they make themselves out to be, or even sometimes their masculinity allows them to be total douchebags like Peacemaker, who, you know, who's almost like a parody of those heroes from the 80s, like Rambo and those type of things, where it's like, oh, I've freed these people, but I've killed all these women and children in the process of doing it. So, but it's for freedom, right? So I don't know. For me, it's a comment on masculinity that there's a lot more underlying theme to it. But I mean, I can understand that, how you can sort of see it as that. To me, I don't know how the bird is a comment on masculinity, but I get the rest of the points. Well, no, it's a comment of people who abuse animals. You know, it's the same thing. It's like you sit there and karma sometimes is a little bird poking at the innards of your face. And I laughed. I love that scene. So I don't know. I mean, again, it's all subjective, and that's cool. We all sort of read into things. That's why there's a million different film theories on movies and stuff about why this is that. And then you talked about like how this feels like a mean-spirited film. Evidently, this is James Gunn's favorite film he's ever done. He had the most fun filming this than any other film. So maybe it is
cathartic.
Well, maybe it is cathartic because he got canceled. And DC dropped him, and then he's like, "Well, I'm going to go make this."
Marvel dropped him.
I'm sorry, Marvel dropped him, and you know, he went off and made this film where all these people get killed and stuff. Maybe it was a catharsis. I don't know. For me, it was a fun catharsis to watch. But I mean, I see your point. I mean, it's, you know, I think some people are more sensitive to certain things than others, and you could sort of see how that story wise, how that plays out. Because there's other things that happen too that kind of play into that as well. And there's a whole thing of the story of Idris Elba's character and how, you know, his scary rats and the whole ending. For me, I felt
great.
that.
I actually
felt that.
I did.
To me, that's no different than the bird thing. But you know, but I can understand where you come from. I'm not going to fault you for it.
So one more nitpick, and then we got to talk about really cool stuff.
Welcome to the nitpick show.
So one of the areas where I stopped having any fun and I felt very uncomfortable, and maybe that was the point, but I don't think so, was when they attacked the rebel camp and Bloodsport and Peacemaker are having, you know, the one up. That was, for me, I did not have any fun with that. And it was made for me to have fun with it. It was doing things that I would enjoy seeing, but in the circumstances, because it was obvious what was happening, what they weren't seeing, I didn't find that funny. And then they go into, when they discover what they've done, it was played for a laugh, which, you know, naturally, but it just wasn't funny. And I almost checked out at that moment. That really rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah. So I feel, again, like somebody pissed in my weed. So.
Well, I mean, you also have to remember that these are villains we're talking about. We're not talking about Peter Quill here. We're talking about like bad people. Like these are the people that you don't root for in 90% of superhero movies. So of course these bad people would not see that when they're attacking the rebel camp. It's like I think it's it's meant to make you uncomfortable, but I think you're also not supposed to realize it until about halfway through.
I don't know. Well,
I didn't realize it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't catch it until it was like a group of them were like coming up to them without weapons.
To me, it's almost like you remember like those missing in action films that Chuck Norris did back in the day. It's sort of like that, where he goes in and takes all the people in the camp and to be in the midst of that and realize, oh crap, these people are sort of the good guys. So,
I get it. It was played for laughs, but I just, you know, when I realized that it was being played for laughs, I guess knowing the joke as we're going into it makes it not funny. And then maybe the fact that I realized it from the onset that, you know, it just was like, it was pain. It actually made my stomach upset watching it. And I was like, I should be laughing. I should be enjoying this. This is all comical and funny, but it was making me upset.
Do you get upset when Jason kills people, the innocent people?
No, I don't get upset.
Okay. So to me, this is no different. I mean, you're playing it for like some of the Jason films, they play it for laughs, people getting ripped in half and stuff. So I don't know. That's the way I kind of saw it. I mean, this film is not meant to be cutesy.
I don't
meant
think
to be cutesy type thing. This is not like your normal thing. So I expect it to be rough around the edges. I
thought the humor was poorly handled. That's my point. Isn't that, you know, I just thought it was very poorly handled to execute as humor. I just did not find it funny.
So can I ask an interesting question? Do you think the James Gunn's work in Guardians of the Galaxy and his previous movies kind of set that expectation that the humor was going to be something else?
No,
okay.
I don't. I mean, because like Super and you know, Slither wouldn't, you know, you got to balance those between those films.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting to be Guardians, if that's what.
Yeah, I was only asking because when my wife when I asked her what she thought after the movie, she said the best thing that she did is she went in completely blind. She didn't even know that it was made by James Gunn and until she saw it in the credits, and she and she had no expectations of, oh, it's gonna be like Guardians but bloodier, or it's going to be, you know, like she had like none of those expectations or anything like that based on his previous work. So I didn't know if that played into your mind at all.
I don't think so, because my problems are like with a joke that's really long. I mean, it's a really long scene, and it just wasn't funny, and it was making me upset. And then the killing the birds hasn't, you know, doesn't have anything to do with what my expectations were. It's like it just seemed excessive and, you know, exploitive. Not that this film is not that, but it just didn't seem like that part of it was necessary. And you know, I have a little bit of a problem with how they handled Harley's character in just that scene. Only the scene with the president. I do not think she would, you know, she would, and that's me bringing baggage from other things for that character. So that might be where that's coming from. So, but enough about my bitching. We need to talk about the cool shit, which is a lot, because this film has a lot of really incredible visuals. Like the rain scene when the tropical storm hit, or whatever, the quick thunderstorm hits as they're arriving at Jungaheim, whatever that name is, where Starro is being hidden. There's the fight scene that you were mentioning is so well done. But even the lead up to that fight scene for Harley Quinn is, I think, even stronger, where she escapes and she pulls up, you know, she just to show her strength, and, you know, because her character has never been shown to really be other than acrobatic or skilled, but she really showed some strength and fortitude in that, where she escaped from being, you know, chained up. So, and I thought that was quite impressive. And I don't think anybody else has done that in a film. It made that character, you know, far more powerful and far, you know, because she always reserves that. She doesn't always do that. The visuals for Starro, I know it's to me are incredible. Starro is one of the first villains the Justice League actually went up against in the comics, to believe it or not. And in the comics, the starfish on the face don't kill you, but that's fine for this movie because it fits. But there's a lot going on, and there's a scene with Bloodsport landing on the ground that's a superhero landing, but amped up and totally different. That is visually incredible. And I love the what you were saying, the transitions and the title cards, the chapter, because this has chapters, but it's not, you don't really realize it because the chapters are like, you know, integrated into the thing. Like one time it's birds on the sand, the other time it's a fire, the other time it's, you know, something else. But it's but then there's other things, like, I don't know, there was things that were meant to be funny, and I'm not really sure they were, or at least they weren't funny to me. Maybe I'm not a funny guy.
Well, no, it's just all subjective. I mean, to be honest, humor is much more subjective than any other thing. Because, I mean, like, one person likes airplane humor, another person likes more sort of intellectual humor. I mean, it's like there's like so many different levels of it. And dark humor sometimes is very hard. It can be even more crazy, and who likes and who doesn't. Some jokes may not hit as well.
Yeah.
So I can understand that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interject that again. Let's so tell me, Slattman, you haven't had the chance to really you know, go off on things that really impressed you visually that we haven't spoiled yet. So go ahead. Maybe it has to do with King Shark, maybe.
Well, I mean,
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, he I thought he was done very well. And his kills and every time he eats something is very well done, I think.
Gnawing on that head. Oh my god.
Yeah. But I think you guys hit most of the really, really stand out and impressive moments. The transitions are amazing, and so like those feel right out, like you said, right out of a comic book. And but even some of the like some of the just like the like introductions to like an area, like the scene where they're on the rooftop talking to the doctor, like that just that feels like there's some of those shots feel like they could be ripped right out of a comic, like just the positioning, like how the characters are kind of small in the corner and you can see all of the island behind them. It feels very much like there would be like a speech bubble right above it, and you could just, you know, like it there's just so many things that ooze a style out like that in this. And I think we've mentioned it multiple times, but that hallway scene, and another hallway scene, good lord.
Oh wow, I didn't think of it that way.
That hallway scene with Harley and all of the animated birds and flowers and petals and everything, and then just the coolness of like when she gets out of it and she turns around, and every time they go back in and look into the windows or anything, the birds are still there. And
the animated birds,
yeah, like they're all still there, and that's so cool. And and then don't even get me started on the water scene where with the freaky little
King Shark and the little Pokemon sucker things that
even the piranhas or whatever they
well, that's the thing. Nothing is cute. Nothing cute in this is good. You know, nothing you see that possibly might be good is good. Even the cutest things. So that, I mean, that's what I love about it, because it's like you have that wonderful moment, like, oh, he's connecting with other sea creatures. No, they want to eat him. So I just like those moments like that. I just love it. It's like nothing in this universe is, you know, ever what it seems to be. You know, and I will say, like, there's one moment where it feels like we walked into like a freaking horror movie when they go into that lab with all these people being operated on, and then you have those sort of zombies in the cages and stuff. I mean, we've walked into some like old gothic horror film, you know, like great. Frankenstein or something.
And a creature on the other side of the window too, you know, with the Joel Kinnaman. I don't know if you guys liked him in the first Suicide Squad, but I thought he was so much better here.
I mean, everything was so much better here.
Well, that's true, but I really liked him in this. I thought he really came into it, and I was actually kind of sad, choked up that he, you know, got it in the end.
Well, yeah, I'm not so sad about Boomerang.
Boomer! I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting him to be in it for a lot longer.
I wasn't. Well, you know, that's so funny. You see these trailers and you automatically say, all these people are going to be throughout. Nope.
You go onto IMDb and Boomer has got like 7 freaking character posters, and he's in the movie for like what, 5 minutes at most.
Can we talk John Cena? Cena.
I thought he did a good job with what he was given, but that character is not a likable character, and I think that's done on purpose.
I know, he's such a
he's a tool.
He's a tool, but he's still entertaining as a tool. You know what I mean? You know, it's like there's like a goofy menace to him. You know what I mean? He's not all there. He's definitely sort of like that representation of people who just take their sort of their Americanism to a certain level of craziness. You know, and you know, just although I could have done without him standing in his tidy whities.
I love that they made a joke about
that. It's like, that's racist.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Just because Idris Elba said it. But yeah, you know, and it's just, I think for me, it's even funnier that he's going on these fest tours and going on TV shows. I was like working out at Planet Fitness, and I was watching, he was on ESPN. He was wearing his helmet and stuff. Yep. I was like, he's on Good Morning America, and he's the only person that's wearing his outfit. I was like, that thing's got to be stinking. I hope he washes it between things he goes on.
Must be comfortable. Yeah. Are you guys looking forward to the HBO Max show that they're doing?
I'm intrigued by it. I don't know. I don't know if that character can sustain a full.
I know it's a risky move.
Series.
If they bring in more characters, kind of like how they brought in a lot of characters that I'm assuming that 90 or 70, somewhere between 75 and 90% of all the people that watch this movie have never even heard of, and they develop them well, like how they did with Polka Dot Man, then that show could do well.
Well, he's like, I don't know if did you ever see that TV show Sledgehammer that came on that was like a Dirty Harry?
Yeah.
I mean, he's even got a gun. It's almost like what Dirty Harry would have if he was a superhero. I mean, does the pistol have to be that long?
I mean, he's got to compensate.
Well, he's got to well, I guess
I
so.
don't know. You saw the
tidy whities. But I don't know. It feels almost like he feels like a Dirty Harry as superhero character. So it might be kind of interesting with him going on missions and him just being sort of clueless as to what he's doing sometimes. And
it'd be fun if he had amnesia after everything, and he didn't realize, and he like kind of had to rediscover himself.
Maybe. Hey, I don't know. I mean, James Gunn. I think did he direct all of them? I think he might have. I know he wrote them.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is it called Peacemaker?
Yeah, it's called Peacemaker.
Yeah, he directed them.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I think it will be kind of interesting because with it being a spinoff and probably being smaller in scope than what this is, I think it'll be interesting to see what he does with that. If it's more of a character study than a full-on action series,
I will confess that I thought, oh, okay, so the Peacemaker show is going to be a prequel. And then when it was at the end with the heart still beating, I was thinking it was going to be Rick Flag, and it was him. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Of course, his girlfriend's going to be in the show. So,
can we just mention how great Daniela Melchior at Ratcatcher 2 is? And
she was a real heart. I feel like, her and Polka Dot Man a little bit, but she really had a heart. I mean, she felt like to be probably the sweetest one of all the characters. She's the one that felt like she really shouldn't be in prison. You know what I mean? She I mean, because she almost had a Disney, flashback thingy. it felt like
you're right.
Like Ratatouille or something. It felt like a very sort of like that's something you'd see in a Disney film. It felt a little bit too sweet, even though it does, the part where they're like, yeah, we fall asleep and the rats would cover us to give us heat. It's like, oh, that's gotta stink. But yeah, I think she was really wonderful. She really showed a lot of emotion in that character, and also just how she kind of brought the whole team together. I mean, she even like made, what's his name? The shark guy.
Oh yeah, King Shark. Yeah.
Even made King Shark sort of like, I won't eat you. I mean, and then also her relationship with Polka Dot Man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She's definitely the heart of that team, and it was really. It's very definitely the sweet end of all the characters.
I like how they really played into the joke that she's a heavy sleeper and she doesn't do well in mornings.
Yeah. When the big shark's about to eat you. Although I will say, she did have a little Ratatouille guy with to be like waving and like there's that one little sweet moment
waving at me.
Yeah.
The ending was kind of sweet with the rat and Bloodshot.
There's, like I said, there's a lot going on for this movie, and I think I want to watch it again, and I hope that when I watch it again, my opinion will improve.
Well, I can understand the issues. I mean, I will say Gunn's movie Super, I'm more uncomfortable with that than other films because of just how the characters work, and that's a much more realistic, I guess, version of superheroes in general.
More grounded, maybe not really
more grounded, where you feel uncomfortable the horrible things they do. But I don't. This one, because I think it was a little bit amped up, it didn't bother me as much because it's not really meant to be realistic, so I didn't take it as seriously. But I can understand how people might be have their feathers ruffled a little bit.
I think I have my feathers ruffled. Oh my god!
Or burnt feathers burnt.
That is so funny. That's exactly what happened. Oh
yeah, your feathers are ruffled a little bit,
that
but you know,
is great. Oh.
Maybe if they're cartoon birds, you wouldn't be the cartoon birds of Harley Quinn's schizophrenic mind. You wouldn't be bothered as much.
No, I wouldn't. Oh my god, that's.
Although I will say that I'm kind of.
I don't even like birds.
I am glad to be. I'm glad to sort of see inside of Harley Quinn's mind, because there's even a moment where she's with the general. You find it's all in her mind how she sees things.
Mm-hmm.
She sees it through definitely a weird lens. So.
Yeah. Yep. But they were a bunch of idiots. It was so funny. They were like, their whole plan to get her and save her was like, and then.
Well, that whole opening beach thing, that's a bunch of idiots. That's
true.
That's the idiot dozen is what that is. Because they're like, I don't, it's like, you can tell that, you can tell these are the people that are supposed to be drawing focus, because they don't know what the hell they're doing at all.
Well, why'd they put, well, anyway.
It was all diversion. It wasn't, they weren't meant to do anything.
But
and then the one character you really don't want to come back, Weasel, he pops back up.
I know, that is so funny. I did enjoy that he does that funny little.
Did you catch the Lloyd Kaufman cameo?
I did not. I did not catch that.
When they're in the bar,
I saw your friend, the patch girl. Isn't that your friend? Didn't you have a friend that was on the movie as a supporting character or a cameo character?
Well, actually, she was the one that was in Lovecraft Country as one of the characters. She was actually the stunt double for Zola, I think it's the name, the weird alien woman.
Okay.
She did the stunt work.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah. For when I don't know if it was when she jumped or whatever. She was actually in that scene, I think. I'm not sure if that's the one you're talking about, but yeah, I do know that she was in that.
Okay, cool.
Courtney Chin is her name. You can find her on Instagram, because she showed when they were putting makeup to make her look like Zola. If I'm saying that name right.
I think you are. I would not.
The weird alien woman who, like most of them, didn't.
Who was burnt to a crisp?
Well, I thought it was Mongol. Yeah. Mongol, right?
Mongol. I'm sorry.
Mongol.
Yeah.
I don't know who Zola is. I was confused.
I don't know. I know it was some kind of weird name, like something you'd see like Conan or something.
Yeah. And yay for Peter Capaldi. All right, we need to wrap this up. It's a long movie. It doesn't have to be a long podcast. Let's go ahead and give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But before we do, we hope you are sticking around. And if you did, we hope you enjoyed this review, like you've enjoyed many other reviews that we have. And if you didn't know, we got a lot of other reviews out there. Check them out. And if you'd like to help us out, it's really easy. It's really free to do. Hit the subscribe button or share with a friend. Yay! And of course, we'd love to hear your comments. You can tell me how wrong I am. I know you're going to put it in the comments down below.
Or say how right you are. I'm sure there's people that might agree with you.
I will eat that crow. Yeah,
all 5 of them.
All 5 of them?
Did you say you're going to eat a crow?
Yeah, that's the same.
I'm offended by that.
But you didn't like that they hurt the birds in this movie. Why would you eat a crow?
You're such a hypocrite. Such a hypocrite.
All right, let's do this. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene. Slattman, you and the crows are up first. Count them crows. Count them crows. Caw. Oh my god.
I really liked this movie. I think it oozes style, and it has a lot of great moments in it. It has a lot of well, they're not great characters, but they're enjoyable characters. They're actually mostly pretty bad characters if if we're being honest.
They might be foul.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed them. I enjoy I enjoyed the relationships of the main like 6 that we had. I enjoyed this story. I enjoyed the journey. I had a great time with it, and it was fun. There were a lot of really funny moments. And a standout is King Shark is great.
Yeah, and then I mean,
he's just
really
he's
well done.
great. Like, and I'm so happy that they ended up like he ended up surviving the end, because I was really worried that Starro fell on him when he fell down and crushed the building.
Yes.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I thought that there were some great action moments. There were some great the set design was very well done, and there are the transitions for example are just are phenomenal. And there are some moments that are shot that just felt like just straight out of a comic, and it felt like they were staged that way on purpose as opposed to being incidental. And I really had a good time. I'm gonna give this one a 4.
Nice.
Out of 5. I don't quite agree with some of the people that say it's the best movie since the Nolan films. I think I liked Birds of Prey a little more than this, but
nice.
But I do really like this, and I think this is the direction that I'd rather the DCEU take than following the Snyder films. So, that's my controversial hot take, I guess. My favorite scene, I don't want to take the Harley Quinn scene because I think Christopher G. Moore wants to take it. So that is my honorable mention. But my favorite scene is probably from the moment that they whack Viola Davis in the head, and and they really start working together as a team. Idris Elba really becomes that leader, and he's just like, you go take the high ground. You like this, like King Shark, nom nom.
Yeah.
Like,
Hulk smash is basically what he told him to do.
Yeah.
It was right out of Avengers.
Polka Dot, that's your mom.
That was hilarious.
Like that whole sequence was fantastic. And heartbreaking at the same time when he was just like, I'm finally a fucking superhero, smash. But yeah, I loved it.
You loved it. You did indeed, sir. Christopher G. Moore, your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene.
I think that this I really enjoyed this film. In fact, I think I enjoyed it immensely more than Birds of Prey, or a lot of the DC stuff. In fact, I think but it's its own thing. I think comparing it to Nolan stuff it's two different birds. To steal your little bird phrases, it's two different things. It's apples and oranges, or polka dots and shark people. It's two different things, and you really can't compare them. But I have seen people that have said, like, there's like somebody on TikTok that said they think it's one of the best. It's the best DC film, which I don't agree. But at the same time, I think, there's different levels of different things of how you approach the story, and you really can't compare them. I'm one of the big fans of 1989's Batman, even though there's some people that lambast it because it's not as comic bookish as some other stuff. But I really love this. And to me, I'm a big fan of dark humor type stuff. Doc knows and Horror News Radio, I'm a huge fan of horror comedies. And this definitely leans into the horror comedy. This is definitely, this makes Jason seem like a schoolgirl
At times, yeah, it does.
At times, because it's like there's, I mean, people exploding all over the place, getting ripped apart, getting heads chopped off, you know, crushed. You know, there's people get killed in about every way possible in this. But at the same time, I think James Gunn has a way to sort of, in the same way that the TV show Hannibal took sort of horrific things and make something beautiful of it, there's moments in this where there's beauty in the horror of it. You know, when you're floating inside the eyeball of a kaiju starfish and there's rats eating at stuff and there's blood flowing in the water and it's seen as beautiful, or you see these little Pokemon fish you know, floating around and creating like the form of, you know, King Shark, or you know, when you have something like that feels like a Snow White Disney segment where Harley Quinn is killing people left and right, but there's flowers exploding behind her and there's little cartoon birds flying by, and like when she pokes somebody, instead of blood coming out, you know, flowers float out. I mean, there's like it's to me, it's like, wow, maybe they should do that more, like make things more PG-13 by just showing flowers erupt from people's bloody orifices. Yeah, and there's those dark humor moments. There's definitely a lot of people that probably don't deserve to die. I mean, you talk about like characters you feel uncomfortable. I kind of felt uncomfortable when the people have like the little starfish, and it's just these normal people, but then there's a point where you just have to kill them, you know, even though they're just normal people with starfish on their heads. But there's that sort of weird, interesting balance, because it is this feels very B-movie-ish. Like if you took like a war movie and you had that heavy B-movie style to it, this is what this is. Because, you know, one moment you have people that are dying like outlandishly bloody, and then you have other people that have like a big eyeball starfish on their face that's very like you know, weirdly huge. It's like to the point where it's like goofily huge, and I never thought I'd see that in a film, or just a big starfish just with things flying on its armpit and stuff. Or just the visions of his mom and stuff where he'd see his mom. So I don't know. I really love the visual flourishes of this. I think you can definitely see that James Gunn is having fun, even if it's dark fun. And but it was right up my alley, and I really loved it. I give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Nice.
It's not a perfect 5. There was I think in the very beginning I was a little bit worried because it was some of the editing was kind of choppy during the action sequence, but I think once it got full blast into it, I was a sucker from beginning to end. As well, my favorite scene is the Harley Quinn escaping scene where she's just, you know, she's like John Wick on acid, where she's just like killing people left and right, mashing their heads into gates, doing all, you know, doing the little John. It was almost like if John Woo met Snow White.
Yes.
And it makes me kind of wish John Woo would make a Snow White film just to see that. As long as he casts Margot Robbie,
would take a whole new meaning.
Yeah, and I think that action sequence to me is Harley Quinn's best action sequence she's ever done. It's probably one of my favorite action sequences of any DC film, even a few Marvel films, just because of just, you know, you have that crazy. It was well choreographed, well shot. I think Gunn was firing on all cylinders when he was making this, just having fun with these really down and out dark characters. This feels like more of the James Gunn I remember in the beginning, when you have like Super and Slither, which is just, those films are just dark and dirty and gross. This has that element, but then it also has a little bit of the sheen of the goofy B level as well, that just makes it even more fun. So yeah, that's my favorite scene of all the really glorious scenes that happen in this.
Yeah, there's a hint of trauma in just about everything in this movie. I will say,
but better,
a little, better, yeah. But it's like a little, like, you know, when you put everything but the bagel on it. Yeah. So I'm not going to repeat all the things I said bad about it. I'm just going to say this is very entertaining, and it's stylish, and it is often very funny. It's often very gory. It's often very heartfelt. And the moments that really got me the most are the heartfelt moments. I really love the moments between you know, Bloodsport and Ratcatcher, or King Shark and Ratcatcher, or anything to do with Polka Dot Man. So those moments are really special and very surprising in this film. You know, you were talking about expectation. I wasn't expecting that, and those moments really are some of the moments that are going to stand out for me. You know, you mentioned the end where, you know, all the rats come and save the day, which was great, but you know, Bloodsport is terrified, and Ratcatcher has her arm over him, protecting him, even though that's not going to do much. But you know, the rats are just running over him anyway. But you know, they both said in the when they were going, in that funny little van thing they had, you know, he says, "I'll save you," and she goes, "No, I'll save you," and they both did. They both literally saved each other in the movie, and that was really cool and very well. You know, we talk about, you know, putting those things in the movie that come back, and you know, that was very subtle to come back around. At least I thought. Maybe it wasn't, but I really like that touch, and I like that, you know, that Bloodsport was ready to leave, and then he goes, "God damn it, I got to do this." But yeah, so I'm not going to do no buts. There's a lot to enjoy about this, and I actually want to see it again. So that says something. I want to see it again. And I'm going to give it 3.5. You're probably expecting a lot lower, but I was expecting this to be a 5. So to speak to you, Chris, again, Slattman, you know, I was expecting, you know, a 5 movie, a perfect film, and maybe that's part of it. But yeah, 3.5. But that's mostly on, you know, the heart and the technical part of it. It's a beautiful film. You know, even the gore, you know, like when when King Shark throws that guy in half, it's slow motion, but not slow motion. You know, it's just slow enough that you can really get into the beauty of the action of it. And you know, when they're walking in the rain, it's like they disappear into the, you know, the whiteness of the rain with, you know, the sunlight bouncing off the rain. Just really creative and fun stuff. And of course, they all appear on the other side. Beautiful stuff. And the special effects are really on point. You know, there's a lot of CGI, as you would in a film like this, especially when you have a kaiju-sized starfish with a big eyeball. But it was great. It all. I didn't question anything. I never questioned when these people had these things on their face. You know, it all worked. I do think that a lot of the explosions are real, though. I think if I was watching some of the stuff that they really did a lot of practical explosions on the set and stuff like that, and you feel it, you see it. So, favorite scene. Oh man, there's so many to choose from. What can I choose? What can I choose? That's I'm trying to be creative here, and maybe I'm thinking too hard.
I know what I would choose if I were you.
Oh, do you? Okay. Gosh. You know, so one part that kind of worried me at first was, you know, you've got you just experienced the fight between Peacemaker and Randall Flagg, and then and Ratcatcher choosing a lot of things, and then right at the end they stop and say, okay, 8 minutes earlier, right? But when 8 minutes earlier catches up, and Bloodsport does that fall down the entire thing, that was so amazing. It was like that's the only way he could survive that fall, right? It was just, you know, fall, stop, and then he literally does that superhero landing at the end, right? And he looked so badass, you know, with the smoke coming up from the, you know, the rocks hitting and everything, and then, you know, it just continued with the fight between the two of them. You know, it was more like a Western than a war film at that point. You know, it's like you could have had, you know, some Clint Eastwood music whistling in the background because they were basically getting
little tumbleweed.
They were getting ready to you know, have a OK Corral moment, and so I was really smiling then. I really enjoyed that scene. It was so well done, so well edited, so well crafted, and so well acted. You know, they made John Cena, who was a prick, into a total cunt. By this time, he was totally the bad guy at that moment, more than anything else, right? So very interesting that they did that.
Well, that the drop was done practical with Idris Elba, and he talked.
Did they really?
Yeah. So the one where he drops like that, they actually had a platform and they dropped it a little bit. So
really?
So he actually talked about how that was his superhero moment where he felt like a superhero because he got to do that pose when it dropped. But yeah, I mean, there's so many practical things with even things like water and stuff. If you can watch, if you have HBO Max, you can watch some of the behind the scenes stuff on how they did some of it.
To do that, yeah.
And because they had the red camera allowed them to take the camera in places they wouldn't normally be able to take it and shoot things in a different way. So, but yeah, there's a lot of it's done. I mean, some of it not done as practical. Like if you're racing and as a building's about to barrel down onto you, can't really film that really.
It was cool that when Harley jumped up on the roof and you could see Starro in the background, you know, doing all this fumbling. It's like, oh wow, the depth of field was really awesome in that scene. There's a lot going on, and I think this is one of my favorite. Or I can't say his name. I never can say it's simple, but it comes out backwards in my face. Somebody say his name for me. Say it right.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba. Thank you. I cannot say his name right for the life of me. My tongue gets all twisted. This is my favorite role of his. I think he's done a lot of great roles, and in bad movies, he's usually the good part of it because, and he's totally wasted in the Thor movies. But I thought he was absolutely fantastic here. I really liked his character. I liked the mask. I liked him. I liked, you know, it was almost a saving grace, but you know, in that one scene I told you I didn't like where they were trying to one up each other. You know, it was his reaction to that. So his reaction to the one upping, not the reaction when they get into the tent. That bothered me. But anyway, I just think, and like I said, Margot Robbie, I think I mean, if she didn't already own the character, which she did, she certainly does with this film. This is a great performance from her. I'd like to see her and James Gunn work again together. I think he brings out a lot in her. So,
well, there's a lot of people that enjoy working with them. They just bring out the best in them. So it'd be interesting to see what he does after this. I mean, other than the next Guardians film.
All right, so we went long over, so we'll go ahead and stop here. I know I was a little bit of a peacemaker in this, so I apologize. If you know what I mean. But Slattman, Christopher, thank you so much for joining me and having this discussion. It was a lot of fun.
A dove flies in with a branch in its mouth and then dies.
And you shoot it down right in front of me.
It's fun as always.
Let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.